A number of us at AGPA have been involved in providing training or direct service to areas of the world that have experienced trauma, ranging from terrorist attacks to hurricanes, to earthquakes, to volcano eruptions. And we've had to adapt our approaches to the specific environment we find ourselves in. And I think we've learned a lot. And over the years, we've become more effective in both training and in helping with direct services in many different places. I'm speaking specifically about work that I've done in China, where I've been 3 times, in Israel, where I've been twice to do work, and then most recently in a series of islands, a country called St. Vincent's and the Grenadines in the Caribbean. I was asked to participate in providing training and in leading groups for people who had experienced a major, what we call a community trauma. It doesn't involve just one person, but the whole country. St. Vincent's only has 107,000 people, so when there is a tragedy, everybody feels it. In January of 2015, a school bus tipped over and 7 children were thrown into the ocean and died. It was a terrible tragedy because everybody knew somebody involved with that accident. What made it more difficult is that the children were drowning as parents came to try to rescue them, and they couldn't reach them because of the rocky condition of the shoreline. Even the Coast Guard had trouble. So this has had major effects on the community. So unlike something that might happen in the US, the group that was organized was not in an office, was not even in a clinic, was not in a hospital. It was in a church. In different parts of the world, churches are often much more likely to be the place where groups take place. And the groups are not necessarily run as traditional group therapy sessions as seen in the United States. They may be led or facilitated by professionals, but the community really takes over and figures out what they need to do. In the church were the parents and other survivors of the 7 children who died, and they were debriefing, they were talking about how their lives have been since January, and all of a sudden the door opened and in came the driver of the bus. He had not been back to that church since the accident, and he came with his mother. And for the next 2 to 3 hours, there was an effort at reconciliation. The group was very important. The group allowed people to share the experience, to help each other grieve, and to work together towards reconciliation. The role of several of us who were trained mental health professionals was to create a very safe environment and to support individuals as they spoke. And while we didn't do a lot, I think our presence really contributed to the effectiveness of the meeting, and I was very pleased to be there to see this happen. And there will be follow-up sessions, both individually and group, by the local mental health professionals. But this community meeting was extremely important. I noticed something very similar and very different from the United States approach in Cuba, where due to lack of resources and a very community-oriented society, individuals who leave psychiatric hospitals do return to their home communities, and the communities really take charge of the rehabilitation. I witnessed one such group where the individual returned to the community and everyone turned out. Representatives of the political party were there, representatives of government were there, and ordinary citizens came out. and really worked therapeutically with this individual. Again, the mental health professionals were there, and in some cases they're psychiatric nurses, other social workers, a few psychologists, and they serve in supportive roles. So I think this is very important for us to realize the different approaches that are taken in different parts of the world. Out of the clinic, using individuals who are savvy but not necessarily professionally trained, with a lot of support and coaching from professionals who have some training in group to make sure that things go in the right direction. So that's one important feature of working internationally. That is, you have to look at models of treatment that are quite different from what we're used to in America. In order to prepare for these visits, one has to find out something about the local culture and about resources. I have found it very helpful to have, at the local level, a person we refer to as a culture or cultural navigator, somebody who is in the mental health field but can be very helpful in both orienting the visitors from AGPA to the needs of the community and the beliefs of the community, as well as somebody who can be there to do translation. Sometimes the groups take place in a different language. And these cultural navigators are terrific. We've had that in China. We've had that in Israel. I've been involved with programs in Turkey. The cultural navigator is so important to make sure that what we do is congruent with the local society. One other aspect of international work that I want to mention is the increasing use of technology, specifically Skype. Many times we can't get there to the scene of a tragedy, but we can get there through Skype if there is sufficient bandwidth in the local area. This happened a number of years ago after the hotel bombing in India, terror attack. A number of us were asked to provide training via Skype on trauma work for the Indian mental health professionals, and we did that, and it was quite effective in that the individuals in India got a briefing on what we had learned from other trauma work, including what we had learned through 9/11, and they found it very useful. And even at the end of this workshop, through technology, the mental health people in India gathered around the video screen, and we were being broadcast on the video screen, and they embraced the video monitor in appreciation of what we did. So it was a very emotionally moving experience, and I believe there will be more utilization of the media in the years ahead. That will require additional preparation on our part to know how to use the media, so it's just not flat or talking heads talking to people just nodding their heads. So I look forward to that as well.